welcome back to the studio, and I'm really happy to introduce this our last panel. And we have all people here in studio, and you might recognize that there is one person you don't know, and this is our very nice student Isabella, and welcome, and she's going to tell us soon what she thinks about our conference today. But actually, since the title is Artificial Intelligence Hype Revolution or Innovation as Usual, we asked artificial intelligence to first respond to the question, and then we will let you, everybody, comment that. So what did it answer?
Yes, I kind of wrote down what computer said to me. Just to say that it was actually quite politically correct, I would say. So I was asking, what does it mean? Is artificial intelligence hype, revolution, or innovation as usual? And the answer is the following. Artificial intelligence represents a combination of innovation and revolution. While AI builds on existing technological advancements, the rapid progress and transformative potential distinguish it as a revolutionary force in various industries. The hype surrounding AI also reflects the significant expectations and excitement for its impact on society. So very much politically correct. But I would like to ask my colleagues here, are you as correct or politically correct as it? Or what do you think? Is it innovation or innovation as usual? Is it hype or is it revolution? Or it's going to be revolution? Please. Perhaps let's go to Toronto first.
Well, thanks very much. I think it's there's certainly a fair amount of hype and people ascribing anthropomorphic capabilities to the machine. I think it's very important to remember that AI is simply the application of computational statistics, and it does prediction. And I think we're surprised at how much you can do with prediction. So that there's a lot of hype there. At the same time, the technology is remarkably powerful. I don't think that most people anticipated that we would be able to crack language with prediction. And what we were seeing in terms of other capabilities, also in the physical world, as I mentioned, in robotics, is also very surprising. And the use of prediction in other domains, like in drug discovery, in protein folding, in all types of, people used to talk about AI as doing repetitive, boring work, but it's solving science problems that the very best scientists in the world have not been able to solve. So I would say it definitely is also in the category of revolution.
Mm-hmm. Alex, what do you think about it? What are Singapore's thoughts? Sorry.
Lawrence,
sorry.
Yeah, Lawrence, please.
I totally agree with Professor AJ. There's a lot of hype, but over the last 6 years, we have also managed to deploy a lot of AI projects that has already brought tremendous benefit to the ecosystem here in Singapore. And we're not even talking about large language models, which we have multiple projects ongoing. And therefore, I think we're going to see a lot of productivity gains, a lot of economic gains, and definitely a lot of new content being created with such foundation models and large language models. And I think as a whole, the economy, the society will benefit. Definitely there's risk. I mean, we are not, there's no question about that. But I think we have to learn how to manage all this risk. But risk aside, I think definitely there's a lot of benefits that such AI systems have brought and will bring to the economy.
But if you need to choose one, would it be hype, revolution, or innovation as usual?
I would choose innovation.
Okay, thanks. Lena, what do you think about it?
Well, I do agree with both AJ and Lawrence. It is hype in a sense that it is still it's very powerful, but it is still a generative pre-trained model if we're talking about GPT, and it means that it's not really creating anything. It's taking a lot of information. It is systematizing it, and it is outputting it. And it is remarkable what has been done in such a short time. We saw from AJ's, the timeline from AJ's presentation. But again, you need to be really mindful of the fact that it is not generating, right now it's not generating new information. It is taking together and kind of outputting a prediction of what should be the next word that I should be saying. So you always have to look at it from like a critical point of view. That is what is it? Is what it is saying the actual truth, or is it just something that's like you have to look at it critically, so to understand whether it's saying whether what it's saying is sensible or not. So, but again, if I had to choose one, I would also choose innovation, because it is remarkable.
Isabella, from a student's perspective, I mean, and the studies perspective, what it is, and is it only helping you cheating? Does it have any bigger effect?
So it's a very good question. I actually feel that it's kind of an all-in-one. I think it definitely started out as a hype, and then it definitely made its way to innovation. But now I think I decided that I think it's a revolution, because I also agree with AJ that it's doing things that we never predicted it could do before. And since it's kind of, something so new and something that's happened and innovated so quickly, I think it's definitely a revolution.
Okay, what about our moderators? Kristen?
I'm actually, now that AJ and Lawrence, they have said their words, how could I say something that is contracting with them? But I would say that it is a revolution. I would go as far to say that maybe the way that we think of human creativity and us as humans, maybe that is a hype. What if we are just prediction machines and we predict the next word and the next sentence and then what will come next? Because every time when somebody comes to me and says that chat can't do something and isn't creative enough, I always find out that it's actually them who are not smart enough using it. And I think I have generated quite a lot of new things, completely new things. So I think it is a complete revolution. And I think we are yet to see the graph that AJ showed. I think it will keep climbing. And we have no idea what sort of system solutions will be, what will become our reality in the next few, maybe weeks. Who knows?
So it's a beginning of a revolution. Not yet, but so we are underestimating things in the short run and
Yes.
Underestimating in the long run and overestimating in the short run.
As it was said today, we have run the first 100 meters, but it's a marathon. Electricity didn't take over the world with a week, but at some point it took over the whole world. So.
And Kadri?
Yes,
Final words.
very difficult question. I think all these words describe part of it, but I'm not truly agreeing with Christian because, sometimes I think that we are not prediction, we are only like judgment. According to the to AJ's kind of differentiation, and also Lina said that. So I try to agree with the machine. But maybe can we take another topic? Actually, I know that AJ needs to leave, and I really want to ask one question, which is actually joining us all here, coming together at the University of Tartu Delta building. So now, if we have discussed this AI, and there is for example, Lawrence told us a very nice story about learning in AI Singapore and their apprentice program, etc. So how can we as universities approach that problem? What should we teach differently? And AJ, you have been, you are spinning out with the CDL from the university. And Lawrence, you have done the, like I see that AI Singapore has a lot of impacts in through the skill development, also almost like lane 2 types of developments, what they just said. So also, Liina, you are a Cybernetica, you are here in Delta building, so you are teaching also in the university. So all of you, and also Isabella, obviously you are studying. So all of you are connected to universities, and have we done enough to be kind of adequate in our role of educating new generations and kind of disseminating this information or knowledge in the society? So what would you say? Or what should we do something better? Yeah, AJ, please.
Yeah, this is a great question, and I think there's a role for universities. I should have been sort of put a period at the end of my sentence to the last question in terms of those 3 categories. While I think there's a lot of hype, I would definitely put this in the revolution category.
Yeah.
And so because of that, because of the revolution, I think universities have a very important role to play because society is not well set up for adapting to such dramatic changes. And so I think, is the student's name Isabella?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So somebody mentioned, when addressing a question to her, there was a joke at the beginning about using AIs on tests, and I think like one role that we have is the way that I would just introduce these language models now in classrooms is I would encourage students to use them. And then ask the question when the AI generates a response for the student to evaluate the response and comment on the nature of the response. What's correct? What do they disagree with? And that, because that is the world that we're heading into, is a world where our job is to evaluate what the AI produces. So that's the first thing is in my view, the university approach to, for example, language models should not be to ban them. It should absolutely be to use them because everyone's going to be using them. They already are in many settings, and that we need to be applying our critical lens to what they're producing. The second thing is I think most countries, their education systems have recently, over the last decade, over-indexed in the so-called STEM subjects. And the types of things that AIs are getting very good at are precisely the things that we call STEM. And the role for people is increasingly going to be judgment. And where we get our judgment is not from the STEM subjects. It's from the arts and humanities. That's where we develop our judgment capacity. And I feel like just at the very time that human civilization needs judgment more than ever, we are underinvesting in judgment at the expense of STEM, in favor of STEM. And then lastly, that as an institution for for training, that universities should be at the forefront of experimenting with the ways that people can work alongside of machine intelligence, and as opposed to, I've seen a lot of universities creating a lot of rules regarding all the things that people are not allowed to do with AIs, as opposed to embracing them as fast as we can. Because if we're going to experiment, if we're going to learn as a society how they work, universities are the safest and most inquisitive type of institution for that to happen.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
to continue with universities, Jan Tallinn told that he has invested into 2 sort of small R&D units dealing with existential risks related to AI, one in the United Kingdom and the other in the US. And he told me that these are actually not sort of deep research institutions, but they are more like activist groups, so standing for or against these risks, etc. So what do you think is the role of universities from that angle as well changing? We know that there are democratic and sort of Republican universities in the US, but in a sense that do we believe in something? Should we stand in it or behind it? Because I know that political machine is actually working towards a lower denominator, because I mean they are trying to manipulate ordinary people, but the bright people who are at the university, should they stand for something or should they just be teaching and doing studies, long-term studies? Who would like to start? Lina.
Well, I think that it is the university's place to be kind of objective. So I think the university should always foster discussion, but from all sides. So I'm not sure that the university should take a position, but again, I'm saying that they need to look at all angles.
So maybe more like a platforms or
Yes, exactly.
exchanging
A
ideas.
platform for discussion, a platform for study.
Yeah, but maybe Lawrence, you would like to add something because you have also long tradition with Singapore universities.
Yeah, so definitely, I mean, I agree with what was said, right? The university definitely, like I say, we have this AI governance piece that looks at the issues around ethics and governance, and in all the 100E projects that we put forward for approval, the AI governance team actually review and actually determine whether, and actually provides their input, right? Say, hey, Lawrence, have you looked at this from a governance or from an ethical angle and so on? So in Singapore, we are a little bit practical in that sense. And therefore, that's where this ethics and governance framework comes in. And even when we are executing all these projects, when we first undertake, even before we go to the approval committee, within our engineering team, we have a very simple checklist that actually looks at all these issues of potential ethics and governance issues that may arise. So that's how we practice it from an engineering angle, and how we go about trying to get projects approved. But we still, definitely come across projects that may border that is on a borderline, and if we are not comfortable, we'll go back to the project sponsor and say, hey, this is not. Maybe you should tweak the problem statement this, and maybe we should solve for X instead of solving for Y, because Y is a bit dangerous from an ethical point of view. So in a way, we want to help the companies, we want to get the projects done, but we also take a look from a very practical angle, the issues of ethics and governance.
Yeah. So I don't know, it seems that we have room for one question more, and should we come to the governance topic and policy topic, or because all of our kind of presenters have said something about the role of the government. So there has been so much that I cannot even summarize, but basically they see a role of government in this whole process. So I would add to this a little bit this small country angle as well. Or I don't know, like maybe we should start with Lina, you, because you are here, you are living in a small country, and we would never think about us as frontrunners in AI, but now listening to Lawrence and seeing what Singapore is doing, so it seems that 90 employees and 300 clients is like enough to make a huge difference. So what do you think about the role of governments in this AI revolution hype or innovation?
Well, Estonia has always been a very digitally advanced country. I mean, I guess we had kind of a very boost start to it at some point. So now we are very digitally evolved, and we're also very small. So it's very easy for us to make these changes. We're quite dynamic. It's you have to deploy the thing only for like 1.3 million people. You're not deploying it for tens and tens of millions of people who live in different areas and don't even have like one unified identity code. So it's really difficult there. So technologically, it is difficult. I think the Estonian government is is working on this already has been working on it for some time. So I think our governments are there is, of course, you can always invest more, but I think we're not the I would say we're not the most conservative in this area. So I wouldn't say that we're really behind on this. Of course, there's always room to invest more, to do more, but you always have to kind of, again, the projects that I talked about, those are funded by the government, and we can see that we want to use the data, but we want to make sure that when we're using it, we're taking care of people's privacy, and we're taking care of the safety, we're taking care that the risks are assessed and handled.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I see that AJ had to leave already, but Lawrence, you invited us to international projects, and actually this is something that is quite different. So Singapore has chosen this one really critical mass assembling or accumulating agency, but we are doing is rather project-based, very decentralized approach. So I don't know, it is fair to ask from you, Lawrence. I don't know even if you have kind of been in Estonia or being familiar with Estonian AI strategy, etc. So, but where would you see the advantages or success of Singapore's approach over such a decentralized approach? What can we learn from?
So actually, AI Singapore, like I said, right, started way before the national AI strategy came about. So in a way, you may see that we actually have a centralized, but actually each ministries also has its own effort to drive innovation and drive AI. It's just that for AI Singapore, we are funded by the research side of the ministry, and they drove a little bit faster than the economic side. So in a way, we are also in a hybrid central / decentralized mode. Mm-hmm. And I think, all these policies, whether it's in Singapore or Estonia, I think it has to be customized to the local context and to culture and so on, right? Now, I'm not so familiar with Estonia, but in Singapore, for the longest time, the Singapore government have always taken big bets on certain technology, whether was it petrochemical, bio, and now AI. And once they decided to take a bet on that, then they'll put in a lot of investments, like what they've done for AI Singapore and for other AI programs that's outside of AI Singapore. And such bets, obviously, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But I think for now, the investments that the Singapore government has taken into AI Singapore and the other AI initiatives that we have are starting to bear fruits. I think, obviously, we cannot compete with the likes of the US or China in terms of the number of AI papers being published and so on. But I think as a small country, we are making an impact in AI, in areas of governance, in areas of how we are executing our programs, how we are helping SMEs to adopt AI, and which other countries are coming and we are learning from each other, and some countries are taking what we have back to their countries to try to execute.
Lawrence, you were saying about government investments around your center into AI topics. And I would like to tackle the humanities and social sciences side at the university, because much of the money goes towards STEM things, and then definitely it's a political or policy decision where to invest educational resources. Do you feel that we need to move them towards these softer kind of disciplines more, and have you done any steps in Singapore around it?
I think STEM is still important, and we as AI Singapore, that's one of our mandate, to try to increase the STEM education and so forth. That's why we actually try to bring the AI training all the way down to the kids and all. The softer aspects of it, it really depends on the audience that we are speaking to and so on. One of the things I always say to my audience, especially to HR managers, to professionals, executives, and so on, right, is actually tell them, please don't learn Python programming. There's this whole movement in Singapore, which I personally feel is wrong, where they are trying to get everyone to learn Python programming. And I they say, no, please stop. There's no need to learn Python programming if you are management and you're not going to be a software engineer. You just want to analyze data. Use the right tool. Use a graphical tool, or today you can use a LLM to help you analyze data. You don't need to write a single line of code. But what's important is what was discussed earlier, right? The judgment, the ability to understand the domain, the ability to ask the right questions, and how to ask the questions. That's how you're going to get the correct answers from technologies like LLM. And that's not really so much STEM. It is really judgment. It's really knowing the domain. It's knowing the business, and really asking the right questions.
Thank you.
Maybe I would like, Isabella, you were nodding when Lawrence was speaking that don't study Python, study judgment. And I'm like, I remember when in Delta, there's a queue behind our art teachers and, those who teach these tools to program and all these practical skills. And there is unfortunately no line behind economic theory who is kind of trying to teach people to think something, right? So how do you feel about this comment?
So that's very interesting, actually. Usually I'm all for trying anything out and seeing how it fits well for you, right? So I have actually taken a Python course as well, and it is not for me. So now I am smarter in that aspect, that I know that I can single it out. So I can focus on management and leadership and other things that I particularly enjoy. So I don't know, really. I think when you're young, it's important to try out a bunch of different things, but making a mandatory Python course for everybody, even let's say if someone already has singled out, they're not too much into details or specifics, I think it might kind of be, not too effective or efficient.
Yes, and actually our time is running out, and before I thank everyone, I would like you to say about, because you have been with us here the whole day.
Yes.
So just, first thing that comes into your mind, what have you learned?
I think what I heard a lot today was that there's so much pessimism and optimism, both involving AI topics in general, and everyone's kind of confused about what's going to happen in the future. But after all these different stories that we heard about self-learning AI and everything, I think it's definitely important that we kind of avoid the fear that a lot of people have and kind of dig into the unknown. Like, there is fear because of the unknown, so it's important to get acquainted with AI as much as possible. It's important to understand what it is and how it works, and to ask the right questions. Out of all the stories, that's what I learned the most today. It's using AI for my own benefit and understanding how it could help me out and how it could help my future business out, let's say, while asking the right questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, Ott or Christian, would you like to have some final words?
We have been talking a lot about the predictive models and the predictive language models, and I have one prediction question to you. I mean, we started with a Delta Trends Day like 4 years back. It was at the hot peak of COVID, actually, in the beginning of COVID. And the first topic was what we had, new business and life models are emerging from the COVID crisis. This was 2020. The next Trends Day was reinventing a 400-year-old university for talent. As you know, University of Tartu will get 400 in 2032, actually 4 years before the Harvard University. And the last year we had the Trends Day, the title was The New Economic World Order. We were talking about technological nationalism and the rise of Asia and etc. And today we are talking about the AI, that it's a hyper-revolution or innovation as usual. But what would or should be the title of next year's Trends Day? What do you think?
You should ask ChatGPT.
And yeah,
He did. I suspect he did.
I will do. I didn't do it, but nobody has computer here, so we can't do it now. But as the day starts in Asia, what do you think in Singapore?
Well, I think if you're going to hold the next one in 2024, definitely something along the area of maybe what would be interesting is what has come true. A lot of people made a lot of statements, a lot of predictions about millions of jobs losses, about new capabilities. It will be good to review the last one. I guess it will be last 2 years since when your next Delta trend comes about. It will be 2 years since ChatGPT was launched. It'll be good to take stock of what has happened, what has predicted, what has come true, and what is still not there yet.
Isabella, what would you like to see next year?
So I think that since it's such a hot topic, I think sustainability would definitely be something I would like to hear about a lot. I think a way how to incorporate sustainability into business models, how to maximize profits while having a very sustainable approach. I think there's so much to talk about under that term. So I think that would definitely be something I'd like to hear.
So social business models, etc.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Lina, what are you
I would
what are you demanding from us?
I would say data. There is such a lot of data being gathered, being created by AI, being consumed by AI, but also created by AI. And it would be really interesting to hear different views on data governance, data ownership. And it is different in different parts of the world, but even in Europe, because we gather data, we want to use the data, we want it to be privacy preserving, but we still want to get information out of it. So where's the line? Yeah. So I would be interested in different views on data with AI, different.
So, and Christian, finally, you are working for our marketing department. What are your expectations?
I was just thinking that if we would be able to do a law conference, which we probably won't do, then it's really fascinating how if the governance and legislation of governments and bigger institutions in EU and elsewhere do not get faster, then we will be in big trouble. And we're just talking about AI Act. When AI Act is finished, half of it is useless because the stuff that is written on no longer exists. I mean, those models are not used, and the new ones are not in the AI Act. And if they try to amend it, then it will be old already again. We cannot apply the same model of legislation. It doesn't work because AI is changing too fast. But we don't have a law conference. So I made a prediction how to retrain or re-educate 2 billion people in a few years because they don't have any jobs anymore.
Yeah. Thank you, Christian. And Kadri, final words. Will there be the next Delta Trends Day?
Thank you everyone for coming. We will not agree today on the topic of next Delta Trends Day. However, I think we should do the next Delta Trends Day at least and go now into smaller groups and start discussing what topic would we like to discuss and soon decide. So thank you everybody for watching us. Thank you all the guests. It was a fantastic and long day, and see you next year in Delta.
Thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.